Hey everybody, Justin here, and today I have my first Parallel Zoey deck with an asterisk on it. Mostly because it's actually technically not my first Parallel Zoey deck, but it is the one that I want to showcase with all of you. So I built two Parallel Zoey decks. One was built around a little bit of a janky combo that I wanted to try, and this one is built around more traditional, what you would expect from Parallel Zoey. So that's why this is the one I'm presenting for the video for all of you at home. Now you might be thinking, Justin, you could just lie. I can't lie to you. I respect you too much. So, Parallel Zoey Samaras is actually relatively simple from an investigator standpoint. She has 4 brain, 2 book, 4 fist, 2 foot. She soaks for 8 and 6, and she has as a reaction, after you deal 1 or more damage to an enemy, you add 1 blessed token to the chaos bag. Limit once per phase. Limit once per phase, which means that if you deal damage to an enemy outside of your investigator turn, or the investigator phase, you actually will also get to reap the benefits of the blessed token, which is really sick. She also has, this is also, but it's actually pretty damn huge. As a lightning bolt before you reveal chaos tokens during an attack, you can remove 3 blessed tokens from the chaos bag, and this attack deals +1 damage, a limit once per round. Her Elder Sign effect is +1 for each blessed token in the chaos bag. So, myself included, when I was reading Parallel Zoey and also like the general ARKHAM community, what I saw from discussion as a whole, there was kind of this dialogue of just, is that it? Is that all that Parallel Zoey does? But in practice, and this shouldn't be that much of a surprise, having Vicious Blow printed on your investigator is a very powerful effect. So it's one of those things where don't underestimate the ability. She gets blessed tokens in really easily. She can use and keep blessed tokens in there really easily, and she also deals a crap ton of damage. Next week, I have a gameplay video of Parallel Zoey going up, where you can see this deck in action, and you can kind of just see the damage output that she is able to put out. It's kind of nutty. Her deck building is 30 size, Guardian cards 0 to 3, which means she doesn't get a lot of the high-end big Guardian weapons, which I think is probably going to be one of the trickiest parts for Parallel Zoey, having to diversify her builds without being able to use a good chunk of the big-ass Guardian weapons. She has Blessed and Charm 0 to 4, and you might be thinking, but Justin, that means she can play Holy Spear. Holy Spear is actually level 5, which is good. I actually like... Even though she would have been great with Holy Spear, I'm glad that she doesn't have Holy Spear, because then it doesn't eat into Sister Mary's space with that. She also has neutral 0 to 5 and up to 5 other Mystic cards level 0. Her advanced versions, there's really not too much to talk about. I don't think they changed the game that much. And this is probably the first Parallel Investigator that I would just play with the base versions, because I think what you get from upgraded Zoey's Cross isn't worth in comparison to what Smite the Wicked brings to you. So the new Parallel Zoey Cross, the advanced version, is you can now remove 2 blessed tokens to the Chaos Bag to engage an enemy at your location. And Smite the Wicked, they get +2 health and +2 fight. So I don't think it's worth it for the free evade, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the new advanced signatures. I just don't think they don't move the needle. They don't move the needle. All right, here is our deck proper. Let's dive in and talk about it. So my weapons of choice, I have 3 weapons in my deck. One of them is not a weapon. Well, 2 copies of them aren't a weapon. We have Machete level 0 and Survival Knife 2 for my weapons of choice, and Brand of Cthulhu 1 as another weapon. It's like a gun, but not really. Notably, she can't play the level 4 Brand of Cthulhu, so she has to stop at level 1. But the true Apex Predator in our weapon pack is the Survival Knife level 2. Mostly because it gives Zoey blessed tokens from her ability in the enemy phase. Because remember, her ability is whenever you deal damage to an enemy, you add a blessed token into the Chaos Bag, limit once per phase. Enemy phase is a phase in which you can put blessed tokens in there, and that's where Survival Knife really shines, because it gives the a whole other phase to get additional blessed tokens in. So you can like poke an enemy with the survival knife in the investigation phase, deal it 1 damage, or hit with the machete to deal it 2, and then you can do the killing blow with the survival knife in the enemy phase and add 2 blessed tokens in that round. It's really nice. Some more blessed additions we have here is in the form of Holy Rosary 2. You see, that's also why we have Relic Hunter. I do think that still the Zoey's Cross is really good, because if we go back to Zoey's Cross, just the basic version, after you engage an enemy, you can exhaust Zoey's Cross and spend a resource to deal 1 damage to that enemy. If you draw an enemy in the Mythos phase, you get to ding it and then put a token into the bag because of that. The Holy Rosary +1 brain and can add more blessed tokens in there. It's pretty obvious why that's there. This build is going very hard on Nethys because of the synergy that Parallel Zoey actually has with Nethys. So give me a second. I'm going to try to read the card when it's really tiny on my screen. But Nethys, the important thing is when 1 or more blessed tokens would be removed from the Chaos bag during a skill test, you seal them on Nethys instead. Zoey's ability is before you reveal Chaos tokens during an attack, remove 3 blessed tokens from the bag. So this allows you to put them on Nethys, because Nethys has, when 1 or more blessed tokens would be removed from the Chaos bag during a skill test, you seal them on Nethys instead. I should have realistically actually put these on their own slides just to make it even that more obvious and not have to go back and forth. But because you're revealing them during an attack, during an attack, so this is during a skill test, you get to put them on Nethys, and then Nethys, you can exhaust her and release 3. What an odd number to have to release. If only there was some sort of synergy with Zoey that you could take advantage of. You then get so you can either seal on Nethys, So you can either release 3 tokens sealed on her or return 3 tokens sealed on Nethys to the token pool to deal 2 damage to an enemy or location. So this is a combo that you can kind of just like keep using to basically just infinitely do this basically 3 damage combo over and over and over again, which is really nice. And two of that damage is Teslas, which is really juicy. It is a lot of experience. It's going to eat up a good chunk of your deck unless you find ways that you're going to build around getting Nethys. You have to find her, but once you do, oh boy, is it going to, like, when it rains, it pours in good value. And I mean, that might sound like a negative thing, but it's actually really sweet. This is also why I wanted this Parallel Zoey deck to be the deck that I brought for all of you for the first Zoey deck, because this was, like, I think the most obvious thing that Parallel Zoey is really good at. And it's a really sick combo that I think a lot of people would enjoy doing. As I said, we got Relic Hunter for the additional accessory slot. Sacred Covenant. My thought process for this is because she can run both this and Ancient Covenant. I think that Parallel Zoey is less about passing tests that she otherwise wouldn't, and she's more about ensuring that she uses her blessed tokens to get the most value out of them. And the most value Parallel Zoey can get out of blessed tokens is usually with her remove 3 ability. So what this does, what Sacred Covenant does, it allows you to ensure that blessed tokens aren't wasted on tests, and instead they turn into juicy, juicy damage. I really like the Sacred Covenant. I think it's a good choice, and I think you should try it out over the Ancient Covenant in Parallel Zoey. We have 2 copies of Get Over Here 2, mostly because they can be used in any Lightning Bolt window, so they are blessed tokens when we otherwise wouldn't get blessed tokens. They also are actually pretty damn good cards that you should try in this deck, and I think you'll be very happy with it. Our economy, I'm just going to list them all out here. We have 1 emergency cache to make up for the fact that we only have 1 copy of Voice of Ra. Voice of Ra, the tabooed version, only cares about symbols, so it works really well. If you aren't playing with the taboo list, changing Voice of Ra, changing Voice of Ra to something else is really, I think, is a wiser choice. You can see that the Voice of Ra tried to come out of me as I was bad-mouthing the card. It was like, how dare you? I'm going to kill you now. The last bit of our economy here for resources is Stand Together. It's just easy money. Some more economy we have is Glory. Play after defeating an enemy, draw 2 cards. Hey, that's what we're going to be doing. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be defeating enemies. Why don't we turn that into card draw? Radiant Smite and Spectral Razor are 2 additional ways that we have to kill things. And let me tell you, I have never been more impressed with Radiant Smite. Like, I think Radiant Smite is a very good kill spell. I think it's a very powerful kill spell in Blessed decks. With all that said, I have never been more impressed with Radiant Smite than I have been in this Parallel Zoey deck. In both of the decks I built, I played with Radiant Smite, and in both of the decks, Radiant Smite absolutely brought the noise. Card is just like funky. It doesn't mess around. So Radiant Smite's here. It's also cheap. It's just really good for Parallel Zoey. Speaking of really good for Parallel Zoey, we got Tempt Fate. The card basically doesn't exist in your deck, and it's kind of doing a bad impression of a Vicious Blow. So, like, really good. I say that because it's adding 3 Blessed tokens, which is conveniently the number you need to use Zoey's ability. Our skills are quite straightforward. We have Overpowers, we have Promise of Powers, and we have Vicious Blows. I think it should be pretty obvious why those cards are there. Overpower replaces itself. Promise of Power is just really good, and Vicious Blow is probably one of the best Guardian cards that you can get at level 0. So it's very powerful, and your job is to deal damage, so why not get more damage with your damage, right? So that's the deck. Again, actually not again, I don't think I said this. There's a link down in the description to this deck that you can check out to look at the cards in real time as well. I would say normally I'll upgrade this into Parallel Zoey, but it actually is, this deck is totally legal for regular Zoey, which blew my mind. I was expecting, the normal, this deck is forbidden, but that never happened with this one. I wasn't blown away. Like, I think Parallel Zoey is a cool investigator because she leaves so much option for you to explore. You can go hard on blesses. You can just kind of like try to deal damage as much as you can and just benefit from the blesses that way. You can exploit the blesses with Nethys. But like in comparison to some of the other parallels, she didn't really like change the game, which is good. It is nice that there is different pacing for all of these parallel investigators in terms of their impact and complexity. But I will say in practice, Parallel Zoey is pretty damn fun to play, and she's pretty powerful. I often say that if there was an investigator with Rex's ability where if you succeed by 2 while fighting, deal +1 damage, that investigator would be insanely powerful. And I think that Zoey Samaras is the closest we have to that, because it's actually pretty easy to trigger her ability multiple times and get a lot of extra damage because of that. And extra damage is very important. So don't neglect Parallel Zoey. I think she is quite powerful, and there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with her. If you've done anything crazy with her, you can let me know in the comments. I want to do a huge thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel. If you're wondering what my actual first Parallel Zoey deck was, it was an Enchant Weapon Lucky Cigarette Case 3 deck, and it was a good time. It was pretty sweet, okay? I had a good time. I might release a video on that deck in the future, but in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, and as always, a GG's.